Good morning. Oh dear. Right, let's turn that down. Okay, that's the beginning of the piece I'm going to talk about today. This is day 5 of my 10 pieces by Beethoven that I've kind of chosen to keep his 250th birthday. The spirit of it going a little bit because the world is in a crazy place, so we need some spiritual nourishment. I don't like that word, but spiritual, and also some inspiring and some, basically I'm trying to say we need the soul of Beethoven to help us a little bit. Well, I do anyway. So the piece that I'm talking about today is playing away in the background. It is undoubtedly one of Beethoven's most challenging, craziest, although I'm sure he didn't think it was crazy, talked about, controversial, amazing pieces. I use the word amazing a lot, but he does amaze me. So it is the fugue to the string quartet, opus 130, which was so controversial when it was written. The publisher begged Beethoven to write something else because he thought no one's going to want to play it, be able to play it, not going to want to listen to it, and come on, are you just getting old and crazy? So he persuaded Beethoven to write a different ending, and the Grosse Fugue, I don't think I've actually mentioned what the piece is called, the Grosse Fugue, the Great Fugue, the Big Fugue, became a separate piece, opus 133. But the majority of performances now include the fugal ending, and I definitely prefer it. I probably wouldn't go and see a performance with the other ending. The other ending is perfectly good. It's a good Beethoven ending, but this is his original intentions, and crazy as you may find it, this is what he wanted. I'm just going to let you listen to a little bit of it. I'm actually watching over my phone the Alban Berg Quartet play it on YouTube, and they're doing this, like I was talking yesterday about the difficulty of Beethoven's music. Well, it just doesn't become more difficult after this. This is at the end of a string quartet that has, is it 5 movements or 6? It's 5 movements or 6, sorry. These are things I should know, but I don't want to just be spouting Wikipedia facts. As I say, I'm a lover. I'm not an academic, but it's 5 or 6. I think I'm going to plump for 6. It's already been a long evening, and then they have this at the end of it. The story behind it is that when it was first premiered, I really like the story because it sounds very modern. Beethoven went to a pub with all his friends, muso friends, and Beethoven sat on his own in the pub while they all went to the performance, and then they all came back in, and he went, "So what? What did they think?" And they were like, they said, well, they liked the waltz in the middle, and the middle movement is a very, very graceful waltz and very pleasant and sort of old Beethoven style. But he wasn't interested in that. He went, what did they make of my fugue? And they just were confused by it. They didn't like it. And he said, well, it's not for them. Someone will get it, typical. And he just ranted and raved and, didn't want to change it or didn't change it. Some of the reviews at the time said, I think one said, it's like listening to Chinese, when I don't think anybody in Vienna spoke Chinese at that point, or not many people anyway. That it was Armageddon, and it still has that power. It's still, if you haven't heard it before, and you go and see it live, it's like, what are they doing? Where is this going? What's happening? There's a little slow interlude there after all the Sturm und Drang. Little doesn't last long. But apart from all these sort of academic musical questions, and is it a fugue, isn't it a fugue? Does it work at the end of this string quartet? Was I nearly said Shakespeare. Was Beethoven losing it? Is it to do with his deafness? Apart from all those questions, it wouldn't be a work of art, really, if there wasn't an expression behind it. And to me, I don't think about any of that when I'm listening to it, because that's too academic for me. I'm not a great academic listener. I came to all this music before I understood the nuts and bolts of it. And so if it didn't get under my skin or touch me in some way, it didn't interest me. And this piece always has. It does get to you. It's a little bit like an anxiety attack set to music. It sounds like somebody beating against something, trying to get out, and not succeeding. And it's like an overworked mind that can't get the answer. And I think somebody actually once referred to it as a mental breakdown set to music. That rings a bell somewhere. Maybe that stuck in my mind when I'm listening to it. But it has a huge emotional impact, I think, apart from the technical side of it. Stravinsky loved it. Stravinsky said it's a contemporary piece of music that will be contemporary forever. That I do remember. So that's a little bit Wikipedia-y, but it's a good quote. It'll be challenging when you listen to it. You may not get through the whole thing. I mean, I think it lasts about 15 minutes. And, but if you want somebody to recommend the Pastoral Symphony, which is amazing, of course, and all the lovely Beethoven, that's generally available just by a CD of Beethoven's greatest hits. Sorry, I'm sounding a bit defensive now. Yeah, just go and do that, all right? Leave me alone. But this is, I'm trying to sort of take you down the road to why I am obsessed with this man, and why, without getting too deep about it, and dark times, he's a comfort. He is, because he's been there and he's written about it and he's lived through it. I mean, regardless of the amazing example he is for anyone with any kind of burden in this life. I mean, the man was deaf, we all know that. The fact that he turned that around and became one of the great composers, if not the great composer, in the Western world, is beyond words to me. But you can hear it in his music, the struggle you can hear in his music, and especially in this piece. So forget the fact, it's a fugue, it's academic, I don't understand it, it's a string quartet, and they're not, the most popular classical music thing. It's a fascinating piece that you can easily become obsessed with, and I'm a bit obsessed with it, really. It's just getting manic again now. The poor Alban Bergs look like they're about to split out of their dinner jackets. It's getting really, really manic. So there we have it. Beethoven's finale to the string quartet opus 130, which has a separate opus number, opus 133. If you're totally averse to string quartets, I would recommend you listen to the original string quartet. And this YouTube clip with the Alban Berg quartet is amazing. There is a few orchestrations of it, and the one I really like, I think he actually orchestrated it himself, is again by Otto Klemperer, the great Beethoven conductor, Otto Klemperer. And a lot of string quartet transcriptions especially the Beethoven ones. They don't really work in my view, but this does seem to work. It suits an orchestra. Anyway, as a string quartet seems to be trying to break the bounds of what a string quartet is, so it suits that, suits the orchestra version, and he doesn't mess with the music at all. He just builds the strings up. So, right, I would recommend that if you just want to listen to an orchestral version, which might be a little bit easier to understand. Okay, enjoy that. Not sure it's very comforting listening for the world we're currently living in, but fascinating listening it is. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.